W. Clifton.
W. Clifton?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Today is January 5th. Mr. Clifton, where were you born?
In Missouri, eastern Missouri, Pike County, Missouri.
And when's your birthday?
July 1st,
What year?
89.
89. Who is your father?
James Clifton.
Was he from Missouri?
Yeah.
And who is your mother?
Elizabeth Clifton.
Also from Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah. What'd your father do?
He farmed.
Mm-hmm. How long did you live in Missouri? How long did you live in Missouri?
Well, I guess my parents were born there, and they came here and homesteaded.
So you lived there from 89 until 1906. You lived in Missouri until 1906?
Yes.
You remember the trip out here? Do you remember the trip coming out here?
I certainly do.
How'd you come?
In a boxcar, immigrant car.
Yeah. Which railroad was it?
It's Rock Island through Texoma. My father shipped an immigrant car out here with stock and furniture, so on. And I came through in the car. 5 days on the road.
What, an automobile?
Huh?
No, a train car?
Yeah, boxcar.
Yeah. What's the most interesting thing that happened on the trip?
Well, I don't know of any particular thing on the trip. They took care of the livestock and just stayed in the car and got off and got a sandwich when it was convenient.
Did your mother cook on the train?
I did.
Did your mother cook on the train?
No, my father and mother came to Tucson on a passenger train.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
And I came through with the car. In fact, the matter is, my brother and I came through in a boxcar.
Yeah. So you came with the stock and all the utensils and everything.
That's right.
And your father had just leased a boxcar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you go to school in Missouri?
Yes.
Where at?
At a little country school, Curryville, Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Remember your teacher's name?
Oh, no, I had several teachers. I don't particularly remember many of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a one-room country school.
Yeah. Where was your father's claim?
Where?
Yeah.
It's 4 miles south of Boise City.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother also filed there.
So you had two claims there, your family?
Yeah, they filed on each claim.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was old enough, I bought a relinquishment and filed on it. Mm-hmm. And they're all down about the same neighborhood, straight south of town.
Yeah. How long did you stay in Texoma before you went on your claim?
Well, we unloaded our car there and we rented a small house. And my mother stayed there probably 2 or 3 weeks while we were getting a few improvements out here on the claim where we could move on them. We just lived there till we got to where we could move on the claim.
Mm-hmm. What'd you live in on the claim when you first moved out there?
What? In?
Yeah.
Half dugout.
Half dugout?
Dirt floor and dirt wall.
How big was it?
About, I would say, 14 by 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as quick as we could, we built a one-room house.
Mm-hmm. How deep down was the dugout, the half dugout?
Well, I would say about 3 feet, and then built on up on top. Yeah.
Was it sod above ground?
Okay.
Was it sod above ground?
Yeah, it was 1 by 12 and
Mm-hmm.
crack stripped, and then a north through above the ground, lumber.
When did you build the one-room house? How long did that take?
Well, that same fall, within, say, a month, so as quick as we could.
Yeah. Was that 1906?
Yeah.
You put a crop in that year?
In the spring of 7.
Mm-hmm. How'd you survive the fall of 1906 and the spring of 7? How'd you get your food?
Well, we hauled some from Texoma, some of our supplies, and there were some small stores within 5, 6, 7 miles of us that had some stuff that you could buy. And we had to haul feed for our stock from, well, some of it as far as Texoma that winter.
Yeah. Do you remember Statehood Day? November 16th, 1907.
I remember when it was, but I don't particularly remember any special happenings that day, no. I don't.
There were no big celebrations or?
I don't recall any.
Yeah. Probably too busy working on the farm.
Are they?
Too busy working on the farm?
I might have been. I just didn't remember what might have happened that day.
What kind of crop did you put in the spring of 7?
Broom corn and milo, and we sowed 10 acres of wheat in the spring of 7. I would say that was on my father's claim, and I would say that was the first wheat sowed in this far out. And we plowed the sod with a walking plow, and he broadcast the seed by hand. We hired that to cover it, and then it rained, and we raised a pretty fair crop of wheat and bound it, and there was no threshing machines available. And we wanted some seed for the next spring. We scattered this wheat in a circle, some of it, and I rode 1 horse and led 3, tramped out that wheat, forked the straw, swept it up and winded it out to get seed. I remember that well.
Yep. How many acres did you get out of that seed?
Huh?
How many acres did you get out of that seed? How many acres of wheat?
There was just 10 acres of wheat.
Just 10 acres?
Year,
yeah.
And we didn't tramp it all out. We fed some of it in the bundle, but we wanted some seed for the next year, and that we tramped out of the horses.
Did you plant 10 acres the next year also?
Yeah, more than that, but it was a dry year and we didn't raise any. You know, that happens sometimes.
Yep, it certainly does. Yeah. Okay. Where'd you go to school? Here in the Panhandle?
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No.
So the only school you had was in Missouri?
Yeah, all the schooling I had was in Missouri.
Did you raise cattle?
Did here.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, yeah.
How many head did you have?
Oh, I would run probably 20 head down there on the farm.
What kind were they?
Whiteface.
Whiteface? Do you remember the Depression of 1907, 1908?
You bet.
What was it like?
Well, it was pretty rough. Now, we raised some broom corn in 1907. We started the Guyman with that broom corn with wagons and team. Got halfway over there and they told us about the Depression and we couldn't sell the broom corn and we turned around and brought it back home. Then we hauled it to Texhoma about Christmas time and sold it for $30 a ton. Yeah, I remember that Depression well.
Did it affect you? How did the Depression affect you directly?
Well, it cut the price of that broom corn down for one thing, and it didn't. What money we might have had, it didn't affect us any. To speak of. As I remember that now, and that's been a long time ago. If you had money in the bank, you could go to the window and draw out $5 a day. But if you owed someone money, you could write him a check and he could redeposit it and you could do business that way. Now that's the way I remember that until those banks. I don't think that took effect very long till they were opened up, but right on the start. That's the way I remember it was handled.
Did it affect the price of cattle, the Depression?
Well, I don't really remember that. At that time, we hadn't built up any cattle much. Right at that time, we just got out here, you know, and just some milk cows. And, cattle were cheap then. Naturally, probably $25 for a cow was about average price.
When did you meet your wife?
Well, they moved out here in the fall of '7, and her father had bought land just across the road from where we live.
When did you get married?
Got married in '17.
17. What was your wife's name?
Gladys Souter.
How do you spell that?
Soutar.
When did you purchase your claim?
Well, I expect about 19 and 19.
And you and your wife moved on that?
I am meant to say 19 and 9.
Oh, 19 and 9. Okay. And then when you got married, you moved your wife on your claim?
Well, I bought some adjoining land, yes, and we moved on that, right.
Did you raise cattle mainly on your claim, on your land?
Yeah, and farmed. Farmed.
What'd you raise?
Well, wheat, broom corn, and maize.
Yeah. When you first moved out here, what kind of chores did you have to do?
What kind of chores?
Yeah.
Not many, just take care of the stock that was shipped out here.
What about milking cows?
Yeah, just for our own use.
Yeah.
Just milk cow for our own use.
Did you raise hogs?
Yeah, we had some hogs.
When did you butcher your hogs? What time of year?
Oh, along about the last December.
How many head of hogs did you have?
We brought about 5 with us in the emigrant car.
Mm-hmm. You make head cheese? Did you make head cheese?
Yeah.
How do you make that?
Well, I couldn't tell you. The woman did that.
Oh, they did that?
Yeah.
They rendered the Lord too, didn't they?
Yes.
Do you remember World War I?
Yeah.
Did you serve in that?
No, I didn't pass the physical.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the draft, that is, registered in the draft, and took the examination, and I didn't pass the physical.
Mm-hmm. Was there much work for the war effort out in this part of the country?
How is that?
Was there any work for the war effort during World War I?
Yes. They sold bonds out here.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I guess you raised cattle for the soldiers.
Yeah.
How many boys from around here, around Boise City, went to the war?
I can't tell you, but there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember when they moved the county seat from Canton to Boise City?
No. I think I was up in, I remember the deal, but I believe I was out of the country for just a little while at that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I was on a trip at that time.
Okay.
I remember the deal all right, and knew most of the people that moved it.
Mm-hmm. How come they moved it?
Well, Boise City was voted the county seat. You see, Kenton temporarily, after statehood, was county seat.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had county seat election, and Boise City won it. And then they moved the county seat.
Was there much trouble with Kenton trying to keep it?
Well, I think there was quite a little argument, yes. And several people went over there and got the record.
Mm-hmm. How many kids do you have?
3.
3? Any grandkids?
Oh, yeah. I'd have to count them up. Then I have some great grandkids.
So in the 20s, you just mainly just farmed and ranched. In the 1920s?
How they?
In the 20s, you just mainly ranched and was a farmer?
Yeah.
In the 30s, how bad was that depression?
Pretty bad.
Was it as bad as 1907?
Oh, yeah. Look, it affected this country a lot worse.
Yeah. How did it affect you?
Well, there was for about 6 years that we didn't raise any crop.
Mm-hmm. What, drought?
Hmm?
Drought?
Drought and dust storms.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, drought and dust storms, and run out of feed for cattle, you know, and the grass died.
How'd you survive the depression?
Well, I had to get rid of most of my cattle, and I didn't go hungry. I made it through. But it affected this country pretty bad.
Yeah. You still have hogs in the depression? Did you get rid of them also?
I think I got rid of them.
Yeah. What kind of food did you eat during that time?
Oh, just ordinary food out of the stores.
Yeah. So there was a lot of food available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what What was the dust storm like out here?
Huh?
What was the dust storm like out here?
Well, they were pretty bad.
How long they last?
You mean how many years, or?
How long would a dust storm last? What, a couple of hours, a couple of days?
Well, those what they call the black dusters. Probably blow 5 or 6 hours, I remember.
Why is it called a black duster?
Well, it was dark. They came in. Have you ever seen pictures of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just went over the sun, and in this room you could just barely see that light. It was just that dark.
How'd you keep the dust out of the house?
You didn't?
You didn't.
No.
You'd have to clean up afterwards.
Exactly.
What, do you try to seal the doors and windows or anything, or?
Well, we did try some, but you couldn't keep it out.
How long did the dust storms last? How many years?
Many years?
Yeah.
I would say about 4 or 5.
Were there any WPA projects around here? Were there any WPA projects around here?
Yeah.
What'd they do?
Well, they did some road work. I believe this rock wall around the cemetery out here, I think, is a WPA project. I'm not sure, but I think it is. And mostly road work.
Yeah. What about the 3C camps?
Well, I didn't know anything about them.
Yeah.
There wasn't any here. There were some boys who went from here to them. But I didn't really know anything about them.
Yeah. To regress just a minute, who founded Boise City? Who founded Boise City?
Well, Douglas, Klein, and Stanley.
Who are they?
Well, they formed they were not natives here, but they formed a townsite company and started the town and went into the county seat fight and won it.
Who'd they name it after? Who'd they name Boise City after?
I never knew for sure. I've heard different stories on it, but I never knew for sure.
Did you know Boss Neff?
No, not personally. I know his daughter real well. She lives here now.
Yeah.
I know her. I've known her for 50 years, I guess. But I never personally knew him.
Yeah. Who were some of the prominent citizens of Boise City in the early days?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Just good many of them took part in it. Now, for instance, the Johnson family, Jack's grandfather came in here and started the bank in 1915. They've been here ever since, and there's several probably like them.
How many brothers did you have?
One.
One brother? Mm-hmm. Any sisters?
One sister, but she stayed in Missouri.
She did? How come she didn't come with you?
Well, she was grown and
Oh, okay.
teaching school there and intended to get married there, and so she just didn't come.
Mm-hmm. What about World War II in Boise City? Was there much effort or work for the war effort?
Yes.
What'd they do?
Well, I think they sold bonds here again and just general effort.
How many boys went to that war from here?
Went from here?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you offhand. Quite a few of them.
Yeah.
My boy went.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the Air Force, pilot in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm. Let me regress one more time. Do you remember the flu epidemic of 1918?
Yes.
How many people were sick and died around this part of the country?
There was a lot of them sick, and I couldn't tell you the number of deaths. It was bad.
Did you have it?
Yes, my family had it. My daughter had pneumonia from it, but survived.
Mm-hmm. What kind of remedies did they use for the flu?
Well, just they had some pretty good doctors here. Just general practice.
Mm-hmm. What was the doctor's name here?
Hall, Dr. Hall. Now mention prominent people. The Halls were prominent people here. The old gentleman, and then his boy was doctor later on, and another son ran the drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a real help to the country.
Is Texoma in Oklahoma or Texas? Is Texoma in Oklahoma or Texas?
Well, it's on the line. Part of it in Oklahoma and part of it in Texas. I think the depot is just over the line in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And the main part of Texoma is on the Oklahoma side.
Mm-hmm. How big was Texoma when you first arrived?
It was just a shack town.
Mm-hmm.
There was some eating houses there and 3 or 4 what they call wagon yards where these freighters stayed, with their teams. And that was before statehood, and there was 3 saloons there at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the buildings were just shack buildings.
Yeah. What year was Boise City founded? Do you know?
1908, as I remember.
Yeah. When you first came to the ranch, can you describe what your average day was like? You know, what time you'd get up and what kind of chores you had to do?
Oh, just about average time. Get up, maybe daylight or a little before.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed average time, just average life.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe ranch life at that time? What's your feeling about it?
Well, the homesteaders were all on a small scale. Now, there were these big ranches here then,
Mm-hmm.
And of course they handled different to what the homesteaders did.
Now, what's the difference between a homesteader and a rancher? What's the difference?
Well, the ranchers had big territories. Homesteaders started with 160 acres. For instance, this Company M Ranch, south of town there, 7 or 8 miles, it was about 8 or 10 miles square, and no farming to speak of on it. It was all cattle.
How'd these ranches get all this land?
They just moved in on it. It was state land, federal state land. They just moved in and put on the wells and put up the fence. And at that time, they were not paying any lease for cattle.
How'd these ranches get all this land?
They just moved in on it. It was state land, federal state land. They just moved in and put on the wells and put up the fence. And at that time, they were not paying any lease on it. Later on, they paid lease, but at that time, there was no lease paid. They just used it. See, some of those people came in here in the 80s.
Who owned the Company M Ranch? Who owned the Company M Ranch?
Lee Easley.
Lee Easley?
I worked there the summer of 1907 on that Company M Ranch, and then later on, I worked there some in the wintertime when I wasn't farming. 81 or 82. When Easley came to the country.
Yeah.
And he told me that he worked for the 101 Ranch over by Kenton a year, then went back to Missouri and stayed a year, and then came back. And when he came back, I don't know just how long after he came back, he started this ranch.
Is this 101 Ranch by Kenton? The 101 Ranch at Kenton, is that the same 101 Ranch by Ponca City?
I don't believe it is.
Yeah, that was the Miller Brothers by Ponca City.
Yeah, well, this wasn't. This was some kind of a corporation, but I couldn't tell you just. It was one of the earliest ranches out here. No, Millers didn't have anything to do with that. And Lee Easley owned the Company M till 1911, sold out in 1911.
Who did he sell out to?
To S.A. Bull.
What kind of house did you finally build on the claim? What kind of house did your father build on the claim?
He built a one-room house and later on built a lean-to on it.
That's all it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What kind of house did you have?
On my claim?
Yeah.
I had a full dugout with an A roof over it.
What's an A roof? Oh, okay.
It was a full dugout.
A gable.
You had to put some improvements on it, understand. And that full dugout with A roof, a window in one end, and then our outfit cost me $7.50. But you see, you had to. I was single then, and you had to farm some on these claims, and you had to stay on them once in a while. So I built this dugout. I lived most of the time with my folks, but once in a while I'd go with this dugout and stay all night, you see, or go over there and farm some. So I didn't need much improvement.
Yeah. Did you build the dugout?
Huh? Yeah.
How deep was it?
Oh, I'd say it was 7 feet long, deep enough to stand up in.
Good insulation.
Huh?
Good insulation.
No, it was just a cellar is what it was.
Yeah, right. After you got married.
I built a 2-room house before I got married.
Frame house? Frame house?
Yeah, 2 rooms.
Where'd you get the lumber around here?
Texhoma is where I got that.
Yeah. Was there enough trees around here to cut for lumber, or did they ship the lumber in?
Oh, they shipped the lumber in.
Where from?
Well, I couldn't tell you. Probably from the south somewhere, but I couldn't tell you. It was yellow pine lumber.
Before they started Boise City, where did you do most of your trading? At what city?
Traded at these country stores around. There's country stores, several of them around over the country here.
Remember who ran some of those country stores? Do you remember who ran some of those stores?
Garlington, Hurley, Cimarron, and Dobie. That was the name of the little town. They started these little towns, you see.
Right. Any of those towns still here? Any of those towns still here?
Oh no. When Boise City got the county seat, most of the Cimarron town site moved to Boise City, moved their building to Boise City. And the Garlington store run for quite a while, and Dobie store run for quite a while. But they all disappeared.
When was the courthouse built here?
26.
26? When did you finally give up ranching?
I moved into town in 47.
What have you done since then?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, yes, I still operated the farm some with hired labor, and I finally quit that.
You still have your land down there?
Yeah. And my boy took over the farm. He came back from the Army. He took over most of the farming. I haven't done any work for several years.
Yeah. Oh, can you tell me more about your childhood and ranch life?
Well, I don't know of any particular incidents. No, I had a good childhood, good home, good parents.
What about some of the old timers that came in before you? Did you know many of them? Like Easleys and those people?
Oh yes, I knew quite a few of them.
Who were some of them?
Well, Dan Island was was one of them. Bob Clark. And Ford, I can't recall his first name. Buckharts. And Burnett's. I knew practically all of them, and they came in here in the 80s.
Do you know anything about Fort Nichols? Do you know anything about Fort Nichols out here?
No, I never was even right at the site.
Do you know Who founded Kenton? Do you know?
No. Mineral City was founded before Kenton.
Where's Mineral City?
Well, it's just a ranch now, but it was a little post office and store at one time.
Where was it located?
It's, 25 mile, more than that, it's 30 mile northwest of Boise, and just southeast of Kenton.
Mm-hmm. Who ran the post office there?
At Mineral City,
Yeah.
John Skelly had a post office and small store there, and also a ranch.
Mm-hmm. Do you know when Mineral City was founded? About what year?
No, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Do you know when Kenton was founded?
No.
Are there any other old towns around here besides Mineral City?
Of the old towns,
Yeah.
I don't recall any.
Mm-hmm.
Any more than these small town sites that are started for the homesteaders.
Yeah. I heard that there was a shipment of gold lost in the Cimarron River on the Santa Fe Trail.
Beg your pardon?
Someone told me there was a gold shipment lost in the Cimarron River on the Santa Fe Trail. Have you heard that story?
Yes.
Is that supposed to be true?
Well, there's quite a story on that. And it was supposed to be buried somewhere over here close to Flag Springs. But nobody's ever found it. They've doodle-bugged for it and all that stuff, but they never have found it. They thought they had it about located. It's supposed to have been on the Strong Ranch. And I've heard a good many stories and read a good many Western stories on that, but
Mm-hmm.
whether they were true or not, nobody knows.
Right. When was the Santa Fe Trail active? When was the Santa Fe Trail active? When they had the wagon trains going to Santa Fe?
Yeah, that trail is north of here a little ways.
Yeah. Was it still going whenever you first came here?
Oh, no.
When did they stop using that trail?
I can't tell you exactly. I've read a good many times on that stuff. I've read quite a bit of that history for pastime, but I forget it, you know.
Right. Were there many bootleggers and moonshiners in this part of the country before statehood?
Are they?
Were there many moonshiners and bootleggers out here?
I imagine so. Both before statehood and after.
Who was the biggest moonshiner in the country?
I wouldn't want to say. That gets into politics.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Quite a few of them, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have any stories you want to tell me?
I don't know of anything in particular. There's one thing that, in what I've read of history of the country, that I never have read where it was ever researched any or ever written up. Now, this Company M Ranch in the early 80s, and I would say 81 or 82, it was a company of Negro cavalry located on the Beaver, about 8 miles east. And I know where the site is, where they were supposed to be camped, but I don't know how long they stayed there. And the Company M Ranch was named after that Company M cavalry. And whether there's ever been any record, I never have read anything about how long they were there. They were not there. They were not there very long, but they were camped there for a while. At one time, I had a bridle bit from that cavalry company, but somewhere in the deal I lost it, misplaced it. It was a U.S. bit. And I never have read where that was ever researched any. I suppose there is a record of it someplace.
Yeah. When this was no man's land, were there many outlaws that came in through here?
They claimed they were.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was talking to a young guy here in town named Hathaway, and he said that there was a place up by Black Mesa where the outlaws used to get up on this hill. Are you familiar with that story?
Oh yes, I've heard that story. They were what they call a robber's roost up there. I've heard that story and read about it. It's I believe it's northeast of Kenton. Who was you talking to?
Kurt Hathaway, the young guy here in Boise City. And he was just telling me about what he'd heard up there.
Yeah, that was what they called a robber's roost, and they had, I never was right at it, I've been inside of it, but I never was right at it. Up there in the rocks, and they had their lookouts and so on.
Sounds like it's kind of like Robber's Cave in southeast Oklahoma. It sounds like it's kind of like Robber's Cave in southeast Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah, they robbed on this, on this Santa Fe Trail, you know.
You have any trouble with the Indians out here? Have any trouble with Indians out here?
There wasn't any here when we came here, no. They had been used this for a hunting ground in earlier years when there were buffaloes, but there were none here when we come here.
Yeah, okay.
There's some came in here later on, but there were none here then.
Who was the first mayor of Boise City?
Couldn't tell you.
How many banks were there here in town? How many banks were there here in town in the early days? Was the Johnson Family Bank the only one?
Johnson's?
Yeah. Was that the only bank in town?
Yes. At that time, there was a bank, another bank organized here, either late 17 or early 18, but it failed in a few years.
It did? Yeah. Well, trying to think what else I can ask you. Have any stories that
Huh?
Have any stories that happened to you want to tell me?
I don't know of any.
Okay. Mr. Clifton, thank you. I've enjoyed this.
Well, as time goes on, a person forgets some of that stuff, and
Yeah.
it was it was a great country. I wouldn't have missed it for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first came here, this Boise City town site was open prairie.
Mm-hmm. How deep was your well on your land?
About 150 feet.
You have good water?
Hmm?
You have good water?
Oh yes, finest in the world.
Was-
And now my son has an irrigation well on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you know Robert Kohler?
Oh yes, know him well.
Someone mentioned that he was the first one to use irrigation.
Well, I would say his father, Julius,
Yeah.
built a dam on the Cimarron, and the boys, the old gentleman dead, but the boys still irrigate from that dam.
Hmm.
Now, if you haven't talked to Robert Kohler, he can tell you a lot more history of this country than I can that he got from his father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, he can tell you more about that ranch country a lot than I can.
Yeah.
Because he was born and raised there,
Mhm.
and now his father, Julius, came to the United States from Germany
Mm-hmm.
and finally drifted out here, and
You know what year he came out here?
no, before I did though,
Yeah.
and he worked on I believe it was the Anchor D down there in McGuiman, one of those big ranches. I believe it was the Anchor D.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually came out on the river here and located and built up quite a place there.
Yeah.
And I knew the old gentleman. I enjoyed talking to him, and I know the boys real well,
Mm-hmm.
all of them.
Good.
But he built a dam on the Cimarron, and it's still standing, and they boys irrigate from it.
Mm-hmm.